The director's cut of Hideo Kojima's 2019 Game of the Year nominee launched on the App Store last week. The post-apocalyptic action game was redesigned to run on Apple's custom chips in their iPhones, iPads, and Macs. This is Death Stranding. The player controls Sam Porter Bridges, a courier traveling across the United Cities of America after an apocalyptic event called the Death Stranding. Hostile creatures from between the worlds of the living and the dead wander the eerie landscape as Sam reconnects the isolated cities. The game features an all-star cast, including Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen, both of whom received accolades for their performances, as well as Léa Seydoux, Margaret Qualley, and Troy Baker. Hideo Kojima announced the collaboration with Apple during a surprise appearance at the 2023 Worldwide Developers Conference. Less than 1 year later, Death Stranding launched at half price on the App Store for $20. It can run on any device with an M-series chip, as well as the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. Mobile devices can take advantage of built-in touch and gyro controls, and all devices can wirelessly connect to Xbox and PlayStation controllers. Today, we'll be playing Death Stranding on an iPad Air 5th generation, featuring an M1 chip, and an M2 MacBook Air. I'm not expecting this to run as well as it would on a console or a PC. Gaming has never been Apple's forte, but the transition to custom Apple Silicon chips has allowed developers to take full advantage of Silicon's integrated graphics. This is a massive game for these devices. After the first download, I had to install additional data. The app ended up using about 16 gigabytes of storage on my iPad, and on my Mac, the game was around 77 gigabytes. And the further you progress in the game on the iPad, the more data you install. These visuals are pretty solid for an iPad. There's not a lot of power packed into this tiny thing, and this looks really good for it, honestly. Apple set a frame rate cap for the iPad and the iPhone. I'm pretty sure it's at 30 frames per second. You can tell it's not the sharpest game in the world. The text looks a little fuzzy, but for an iPad, it really is impressive. This movement is pretty solid, just with the touch controls. I'm trying to figure out how gyro works. Whoa. Getting a little hot here on the iPad. It might be almost time to switch to a different device. Purchasing the game on the App Store allows you to play it on all your compatible Apple devices. Using iCloud in the Game Center, you should be able to swap between devices quickly and pick up where you left off. Let's try it. Yeah, already these graphics are not what I was hoping for. It's really lagging on my Mac and the heat is going crazy. I had to drop the quality from 1440 to 1080p, and we're still getting a lot of lag. I mean, we're just walking right now. If we got into action, this would be pretty rough. Oh, this is tough. Man. So far, the experience is playable, but just barely so sometimes. The DualSense controller definitely helps. An Xbox controller would also be fantastic. The iPad ran pretty well, but I just don't have enough storage to run the full game. I mean, if it's gonna keep downloading every stage I get to, then we're gonna run out pretty quickly. On the Mac, the quality really was not as impressive as I had hoped. I mean, there were a lot of lag spikes, and even when I dropped my graphics settings down a little bit, I still got so much lag even when I was just walking. With the heat that this was drawing and with the power that this sapped, I mean, I lost about 50% in 30 minutes. And I got lag spikes way too often for this to be playable. Thankfully, if I or you want to experience Death Stranding, this is not the only option. I'm gonna keep giving it a try. I hope it'll work out pretty well, but of course I can always get it on a PC, on a console, and there's a movie coming out. A24 announced a film adaptation of Death Stranding in December in collaboration with Kojima Productions. Last week, the game's sequel was featured at PlayStation's State of Play event. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, should release on PlayStation in 2025. Until then, I'm Ray Milburn for The Ithacan. We'll see you on the beach.